Welcome inside the RXMuscle studios in New York for another episode of Ask Dave, better known as #AskDave, brought to you by Species Nutrition. I'm your host, Sadiq Faruqi. Glad you can join us on this Thursday, the 8th day of September in the year 2016. We are literally 6 days away from boarding a plane to go to Las Vegas for the 2016 Mr. Olympia weekend. We hope you've been enjoying all of our coverage on RXMuscle.com, of course, brought to you by SciTech Nutrition. Just a short while ago, we had Ashley Kaltwasser, 3-time Miss Bikini Olympia, on live with. That is available right now on our YouTube channel and, of course, on RXMuscle.com. If you're watching us for the first time on YouTube, subscribe below. You're not going to miss any of our shows, segments, analysis, and, of course, next week, any of our wall-to-wall coverage of the 2016 Mr. Olympia weekend. This is a 30-minute question and answer show with Dave Palumbo. Your questions on bodybuilding, training, supplementation, diet, IFBB pros, any Olympia questions, whatever is on your mind, it is all on the table. You can join us on the Muscle Central Forum on RXMuscle.com, on our YouTube channel, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, official_RXMuscle, as we bring in Dave Palumbo. Dave, 6 days away from Las Vegas.
You know, I got to say one thing about the Ashley Kaltwasser interview. I really truly enjoyed it, and I have to be honest with you. I've never really had a long conversation with Ashley because she's either been exclusive with someone or who the hell knows what was going on. But I found her to be a tremendous personality. I think she's got, she's been underutilized, if anything. People have only seen her physique. They really haven't seen her personality come out. I think if you guys don't know Ashley, who's the reigning 3-time Miss Olympia in bikini, you should check out that interview. And of course, if you like all our content, please subscribe to the channel and like the all the videos. I always hated asking that. I always wondered why people did it. But I will say, since we've been saying to subscribe to the channel if you like all our content, we've gotten like thousands and thousands of subscribers, which is really good because it really helps reinforce what we're doing here at the show. Obviously, the Olympia coming up in less than 6 days now. And, I haven't really traveled a lot. Sid, you got to remember, I'm a world traveler. I'm all over the place. I have 75,000 travel miles per year on Delta, on Platinum. This year, I've traveled to the Arnold Classic, and that's it. We've gone to, and Amanda and I have gone to, I think, Florida twice or something like that because of the baby. So this is a big deal for me going out to Las Vegas. I'm getting 5 days off here, basically. I feel bad that I'm leaving my wife and baby behind. I can't believe I'm saying that, but yeah, I actually going to miss them a lot. And but the Olympia is the Olympia. It's the Super Bowl, and I know everyone out there wants our coverage. We do have press passes this year. We'll be right up front, handicapping the event. And Jay Cutler, who was on Iron Debate yesterday, or last night, I should say, is going to be joining us for our official wrap-up of the prejudging festivities on Friday night. So he volunteered for that. So that's going to be a great, tremendous little accolade for us and feather in our cap, as well as we have a super, and I know you're going to announce this, so I'm going to break it, super special guest coming up in less than a half hour. I can't wait. It'll be about 4:15 Eastern Standard Time here at RXMuscle.com, and I'm sure you guys can only imagine who it might be, but you'll probably be wrong. I'm super excited.
Let's just say it is the big guest you've been waiting for. Of course, Jay Cutler's Iron Debate, where he makes his Olympia predictions, is available on RXMuscle.com and the RX Muscle YouTube channel. We start today in the Muscle Central Forum and go to Unnaturally Natural. Hi, Dave. First-time poster, long-time listener. I hate your show because now when people ask me general advice from cars to relationships, my only answers are to get either Testalized, Omegalized, or Isolized. Nicely put. I'm 5'10", 185 pounds, 42 years old, in the process of cutting from 18% body fat to 10%, currently at 13%. As I lean out, I'm getting fatigued faster during reps, and I'm losing strength in my lifts. I do 45 minutes low-intensity cardio a day, and I'm doing 1.5 grams protein, 0.50 grams fats, and 0.75 grams carbs per body weight pound. What is the ideal lowest body fat percentage to be able to maintain energy and strength and still put on muscle, not trying to shred? For now, just get rid of my gut and get my packs back.
everyone is different, and that's why it's hard for me to give a blanket response. I know you gave me a lot of data here. I mean, pretty much we're doing a consultation. I mean, you gave me so much data, but I don't know how your body responds. Right off the bat, maybe your fat's too low. With men, I usually will do 7.75 grams of fat per pound. So you might want to try upping your fats a little bit. Obviously, if you raise your carbs, you're going to come out of ketosis. You're not going to get the benefits of that ketogenic diet. So if you're looking to stay like that, I would keep the carbs low and I would raise the fats a little bit. That's one thing. Sometimes, just strength goes. I used to get really weak, in certain lifts. Not all lifts. I was able to squat and deadlift, but my bench would get weaker when I would diet down because I wouldn't have as much fluid around my shoulder joints, supporting that area. So everyone's different. When you want to get shredded, you're not going to be very strong in the gym. But if the weight feels heavy to you, you're still maximally stimulating the muscle. I know you're not doing a contest or anything like that. So if that's the case, then maybe you should up your calories a little bit and not worry about getting lean that quickly.
JC17, hey guys, I hate the show more often than... Wait, just let me check this text, probably from Jim. Oh, never mind, it's from my mom. This is awkward. My question is about testosterone. Could you explain a little bit about the different types/varieties of test one could use for a cycle? Which did you favor and why?
Testosterone is testosterone pretty much, and the differences between the various types out there are the ester linkages that it's linked to, or ether linkages in the case of androxin or andriol, which is a weird drug. Testosterone undecyclinate is also known as andriol. In pill form, it comes in like an ether linkage. It only lasts a couple hours in your system. When they put it in an oil, or ester linkage, the testosterone undecyclinate, testosterone undecanoate, it becomes long-acting. So that's a weird compound. Aside from that, putting that compound aside, most testosterones are longer-acting compounds. The testosterone cypionate and xanthate being the longest-acting. And xanthate is a little bit longer-acting testosterone than the cypionate, but they're pretty much for all intent and purposes the same. I like both of those the best. They don't hurt. They don't leave you sore. You get nice even blood levels of testosterone when you take them. That was my favorite when I was competing. Obviously, then you have the shorter-acting ones like test-propionate, test-phenylpropionate. They don't really sell test-phenylpropionate by itself, but you can get it when you buy Sustanon. Sustanon or Omnidrin or what else is it called? There's a couple other names for it. Cytoho, I think they called it in Russia. Those are 4 blends of testosterones, usually ranging from long-actings, decanoate, enanthate, to the short-actings, phenylpropionate and propionate. Actually, it used to, if I got this right, it was test propionate, test phenylpropionate, test isocaproate, and test decanoate. And that was your 4 esters of Sustanon. I never really liked that. Like I said, I favor the long-acting brands. Then, of course, you have test suspension. And that's exactly what it is. When you hear the term suspension, it's testosterone powder suspended in water. And you have to shake it up and you inject it, and it only lasts maybe 8 hours in your system. Not really a huge fan. I did use it back in the day, but it needs to be administered very frequently. And what I found is that test suspension works great only if you're on a long-acting oil-based testosterone with it. This way, when the suspension dies out on you, you have something still there, that being the long-acting testosterone. So there's different esters of it, once again, and they're all pretty much the same. It's kind of whatever you prefer. Once again, I don't like things that don't last as long, because then you're going to have periods of time when you have no testosterone present, and then other times when you have super high testosterone. So it screws up your moods a little bit too, because your levels are up and down.
Let's go to Black. I love this. This is my favorite name on the RXMuscle forum, Black Elephant. It reminds me of Black Unicorn, which reminds me that I'm sorry because some of you did message me, and it is my fault. Dave, tonight the NFL season begins, and I got some angry messages that I didn't start an RXMuscle fantasy league. So,
there you go. That's a good. Can you do that?
It would literally have to start this week.
Oh.
And we'd miss week 1.
Oh.
So you know what? Stay tuned. Let's go to.
Sid's overworked already.
By the way, set your fantasy football lineups. Tonight starts 8:30 p.m. I hate this show so much I would rather staple bologna to my face and stick it in a fishbowl of piranhas than listen to this show.
That's pretty good.
Your thoughts on distilled water?
Terrible for you. First of all, distilled water is acidic. And as you know, I'm a big advocate of alkaline water and alkaline-based foods. So distilled water is terrible. The reason why it's acidic is because it has no minerals in it. It's devoid of everything. and it throws your electrolyte balance off in your body. So the worst thing you can do, I know a lot of guys will switch to distilled water like a week before a show thinking that they're going to get drier. It's going to screw your electrolytes up. It's going to cause cramping. Don't do kooky stuff the week of a show. I'll say it now. I've said it before. I'll continue saying it in the future. Don't change what you're doing.
Let's go to Benadu 14. Hey, Dave, how long does the fat storage process take? Example, if I eat 10,000 calories today, how long until that will be stored as body fat? Can all those extra calories be, quote, processed and, quote, absorbed, or will the extra calories simply be excreted?
It's impossible to really tell what happens when you have an exorbitant amount of calories. But if you're eating a low-calorie diet, you're on a diet, and you're burning body fat, and you go and eat an exorbitant amount of food, your body's first inclination is burn this crap off. That's what it wants to do because it's not used to that. Now, if you did that meal over and over and over, day after day, you would start storing calories. When that storage process occurs is variable according to the person. Like, I could probably get away with it a lot longer than, say, Mrs. Smith, who probably looks at the food and will gain weight from it. So everyone's different. I have women that I diet, and they can't. I have to pull their cheat meals, or I have to monitor their cheat meals because they do eat too much and they do get fat from it. Or more likely, what happens is they don't lose weight for the week, and that screws up everything. So there is a limit to how much you can consume and how much your body can burn up.
Let's go to Well, you just did answer a question about testosterone, so this question is from Octavius. I'm going to skip your joke. It is funny, though. What do you think about testosterone booster supplements? Do they work? Do they do anything like real test?
You got to remember, and I've said this here many, many times, and I guess it bears repeating because people are new viewers to the show and people forget, and it's good to reinforce this. The best way to optimize muscle building in your body is to optimize your testosterone levels and your estrogen and your DHT. These three hormones work in a triad. Your testicles release testosterone, then a certain percentage of that testosterone converts to estrogen. The estrogen then shuts down your pituitary, production of testosterone and slows testosterone production. Testosterone also can convert to DHT or dihydrotestosterone, which in young boys will cause them to become masculinated and become men. In women, it will mess them up, okay, because it's going to make them look like men. And it will also, in adult life, it could cause hair loss, DHT levels in excess. It can cause prostate enlargement. So we want to manage these levels of all three hormones. We want testosterone to be the highest, since that's the muscle building and muscle repair hormone. We want estrogen and DHT to be lowest in a man's body. We don't want to get rid of estrogen and DHT because a certain amount of that is necessary for sex drive and sensitizing of the androgen receptor to testosterone, but we want to limit it to as much as possible. And that's why a good testosterone booster will address all three of these hormones. And that's what my Testalize does that we put out from Species Nutrition. Not many other other testosterone boosters out there that do that. We blunt estrogen production, we blunt DHT production, we bind up extra estrogen and pull it out of the body, and then we directly stimulate testosterone as well. So you get a really good effect from it. As a matter of fact, I've been telling a lot of people to take it. I don't like to push my own stuff, especially when it's not. I always consider Testalize as an optional supplement. It's not an essential like the V-Mineralize would be, or Omega-Lize or Fiber. But a lot of guys have messed up high estrogen levels, high DHT levels. So I recommend that guys, especially post-cycle, when they're off, take the Testalize 3 pills twice a day. But I've been getting a lot of guys taking it while on cycle, and they've been noticing less acne, less hair loss because of the lowering of DHT, and less estrogenic side effects. And I have a lot of women using Testalize. Believe it or not, a lot of bikini women who don't take any performance-enhancing drugs are taking it to lower DHT levels in their body, lower estrogen levels, because Testalize doesn't block the production of estrogen. It binds extra estrogen and pulls it out of the body. So it's like really an all-purpose thing. You can kind of take it year-round. There's no needing to cycle it. There's no toxic compounds in there. So it happens to be an excellent, what we call, testosterone optimizer.
It's good. I love this name too. Damn Dirty Ape. Dave, how are your shoulders doing after the, forgive me for mispronouncing it, mesenchymal stem cells?
Mesenchymal stem cells.
Mesenchymal stem cell injections. I watched part 1 and part 2 of your procedure on the web, but haven't seen any updates since then. I'm 48, and I've been thinking about injections on my knee and elbows for osteoarthritis, as well as at L4, L5 for disc regeneration. So would you recommend the procedure to others? P.S. Watching your show is more painful than heavy squatting with a herniated disc.
I would say I got 25% relief. Now, I wouldn't, the problem with 25% relief is I'm still in pain a little bit, and I still have some, crackly shoulders. But 25% is still relief when you're not comfortable. So I would say it definitely did something. My right shoulder way better than my left shoulder. I think I have some kind of a bone spur in my left shoulder that's really irritating that. Because it feels good at rest. It's just when I move the left shoulder, I feel some sticking and jabbing feelings. I don't know if they can do anything about that. So I would say it definitely works. How consistently? I think it's on a person by person basis. I think knees work better than shoulders because it's a hinge joint. I think elbows would work well too, probably. I don't know about spinal injections. I don't even know if they do those, but it's definitely worth investigating. I was talking to someone today, and they were telling me that Hulk Hogan goes down to Mexico for a stem cell. They actually take his stem cells, they culture them, they grow them. He gets shots like every 2 weeks or once a month. He said the pain-free aspect of it only lasts a couple of weeks, but it's an interesting topic. Also, as far as healing modalities go, I was talking to Titan Medical Center today, who we have a nice relationship with. I send a lot of people there. If you guys want hormone replacement or injectable amino acids or injectable antioxidants, you can go right to TitanMedicalCenter.com. You can call them up, mention Dave Palumbo and RXMuscle to give you a great discount. And the great thing about Titan Medical is you don't have to go down there. You can do Skype interviews with the doctor, and you can get your hormone replacement mailed to you. It's super convenient. They'll send you for blood work. And I will be, when I get back from the Olympia, they sent me a huge care package of stuff. I'm going to be going through all the injectable amino acids. I'm going to be going through the injectable antioxidants like glutathione. And I'll be taking shots and showing you guys all the different modalities. And we talked today about possibly getting some of the healing peptides, being pharmacologically produced at the compounding pharmacy so that we know they're legitimate. And that should be a great help to people with joint and soft tissue injuries.
Let's go to Timper Yuck. Hey, Dave, I hate this show more than I hate not knowing where on God's earth is live streaming and what it's going to look like for the Olympia. You kind of go all over the map here. Anyway, I'm going to get to your question. My question is, I just had a sperm count test done last week at the hospital. I scored just above 0. Yes, 0 sperm count. I'm 43 years old and have been on TRT and Libido injections for the last 3 years, every 10 weeks after I had cancer 8 years ago. We're looking to making a baby, and I clearly need to improve my count as my partner has come back with very positive results regarding conceiving for her. Many thanks, yada, yada, yada. Could be a lifesaver in months to come.
Yeah, well, first of all, you got to get off the hormone replacement. I know you don't want to hear that, but you're not going to get her pregnant on hormone replacement because the hormone replacement is suppressing your pituitary and it's suppressing your natural endogenous testosterone production. That's an automatic. The problem that you're going to have is that the injectable test will come out of your system after a month. The Libido, which is, I believe, is the pellet injections that release the testosterone undecanoate, which I mentioned earlier, in small amounts over months and months and months, is not going away anytime soon. I don't know when you got the last injections of those, but they last a long time. So you're going to have to get off all that stuff, and then you're going to have to take some HCG at 2,000 units every other day. And I would recommend, if you can get it, HMG, human menopausal gonadotropin. That really raises sperm count up a lot. 75 units every other day, and then take 50 milligrams of Clomid every single day. And you got to stay on that protocol until you get her pregnant. It works. Believe me, everyone I've given it to, it's worked for, including myself. But you got to get off the hormone replacement.
Let's go to our Instagram page. It is official_RXMuscle, muscle_machine. Hey, Dave, I hate your show so much more than Profit Muscle hates Rich Piana. My question is, I can only afford some money on my pre-contest drugs. Can you tell me what are the 3 main drugs you recommend to take pre-contest?
Testosterone, trenbolone acetate, and growth hormone. If you can't afford growth hormone, I would say testosterone, trenbolone, and clenbuterol.
Let's go to Yanni Mon, optimal estrogen levels during bulk. Keep it as high as it gets without gyno and too much watermelon. I'm not sure what he's trying to get at here.
I don't know. I always tell people get estrogen levels into the normal range. That's the key. You don't want them at 0 because then you have no sex drive and your androgen receptors don't work. Okay? Get estrogen into the normal range and you're good. You don't want it high, you just want it in normal range, and you don't want it below the lowest number of normal range. In normal range.
Let's go to Abraham Bills. Hey, Dave, I have a question. Does the keto diet work for an endomorph?
The ketogenic diet works better for an endomorph because an endomorphic guy is a kind of person who puts weight on easy, okay, whether it be muscle or fat. It's because they overproduce insulin, okay? So a ketogenic diet lowers insulin levels because you're not eating any carbohydrates. Insulin's only released in the presence of carbohydrates. So that's perfect for you because your problem is that you have too much insulin. Ketogenic diet gets rid of the insulin or lowers it dramatically. That's going to solve your problem.
Let's go to Abe Benson 88. I hate this show so much. I would rather bet my savings on Kevin Levrone winning than watching another episode of this show. Sort of a theoretical nutrition question. I'm a natural power lifter, and I'm wondering if you think it's more unhealthy to bulk to over 20% body fat to lift the most amount I can naturally, or take a conservative amount of steroids and lift the same at a lower body fat percentage.
Well, it's a personal choice, obviously. Being lower body fat, okay, is going to be healthier, even though you might have to take some steroids to do that, than being heavier body fat and overweight, okay, and breathing heavy and putting strain on your heart. So I would go with the option of being leaner and maybe being on some gear.
Let's go to Omara Buna. Dave, what is the perfect carb and protein intake, grams per body pound for bulking season and putting on clean muscle mass?
I like about 1.5 grams of protein per pound for protein intake. And what was it, for fat or carbs, did you say?
For bulking season, for perfect carb and protein intake.
Carbs for bulking without gaining weight, I'd say 1 gram of carbs per pound that you weigh is probably a good estimate for just enough fuel to fuel you, but not too much where you're going to store.
Stan underscore bodybuilding. Dear Dave, I'd rather see you bring a new product called Levrone Lies that will make me grow into any show like Kevin Levrone, then watch this show. Well done. A lot of people eat different sources of protein: chicken, fish, beef, egg whites. Is there any science behind the choice of lean protein source, or is it a personal preference?
I have some of my clients, I have my clients eat some lean protein sources, like from egg whites, chicken breast, turkey breast, lean white fishes, and then I have other meals coming from fattier sources of protein: red meat, salmon, swordfish. So I think it's good to balance it off, and I think you want to get fats obviously that are healthy. If you can get grass-fed red beef or grass-fed buffalo beef, that's obviously a hell of a lot healthier than regular supermarket bought beef. So it's kind of a personal choice. I like to mix it up. I don't like to use the same fat source over and over. I have some clients that are like, I'll just drink a protein shake every meal and have a tablespoon of mac oil with it. I'm like, not going to work.
You're watching Ask Dave on RXMuscle.com, brought to you by Species Nutrition. Visit speciesnutrition.com. In about 15 minutes, we are going to unveil our super mystery guest that we've been teasing now for the better part of the last 2 days. Also, on our YouTube channel at RXMuscle.com right now are live with 3-time Miss Bikini Olympia Ashley Kaltwasser. That was earlier on this afternoon. That is available, as well as Iron Debate with Jay Cutler. All that and more on RXMuscle.com and the RX Muscle YouTube channel. Let's go to Lausta86, good friend of the show. Dave, would you recommend to take DECA with Tren? I've heard many people say yes and no on this subject.
Well, DECA and Tren work well together in terms of building muscle and strength and aggression. Some people have a problem with when they take DECA or Tren because they're 19 nor testosterone-derived compounds, that in these people's body, it raises prolactin levels. Prolactin kills sex drive. It can kill your ability to get an erection. and people just don't feel good on that. So when you combine two things that might irritate your body and you put them in the same cycle, it could be disastrous for some people. So I guess if you have a sensitivity to trenbolone or DECA in the terms of, getting that gynecomastia coming from the prolactin, where we have the nipple discharge, or having other side effects from prolactin, especially inability to get an erection, then I think it's a good idea not to take them together. But if you don't have any problems, I've used them together. I had no problems.
Let's go to Jacked and Stacked 1. Dave, question your thoughts on chewing all your daily vitamins, minerals, EFAs, etc., and swallowing the powder/liquid rather than swallowing the entire pill or capsule. Would they be better absorbed by the body in a more crushed powdered liquid form rather than a full pill capsule form?
My brother-in-law Rob was telling me this past weekend that he chews aspirin, he chews vitamins. I don't know how he does it. The whole idea behind putting them in a capsule so that you don't have to taste them in your mouth. Can you do it? Yeah, but it's not going to make them get absorbed any better or worse, Now, the old days, and I don't know, they still might have some companies where they have those big, hard, solid pills, the monster pills you'd swallow 25 of them at a time, liver, the desiccated liver and everything like that. Those pills probably could be chewed because I don't think those things ever dissolve. As a matter of fact, I think that someone, excuse the burp, I think someone actually did a test where they put them in water and showed that they didn't dissolve after like 5 days or something like that, some of these pills. So I think for tablets, it's not a bad idea to chew them, but I always opt for capsules. All my products are in capsules. There's no reason to chew them. They will dissolve in 2 seconds in your stomach and release all the contents.
Let's go to JP Costanzo 1. I hate this show so much. I would rather drink Greg Valentino's gushing bicep oil than sit here and listen to this garbage. Dear Dave, how soon is too soon to start prepping for a show? Suppose one had to go on a very long off season in order to gain adequate size, but has also gained a tad bit more of fat than their previous off season. In this case, would you start earlier than last year?
Yeah, I've started with guys as early as 20 weeks out. For people who were really nervous that they were too overweight, and I wanted to just take my time with them. So that you really can't start too early. I think 20 weeks is about the most I would do. 5 months. There's no reason to diet more than 5 months. I remember I did the New York Metropolitans back in 1992, I think it was, or 94. And it used to be in February every year. They changed the date of it, I think, to March or something like that. It was like a month later. And I was already dieting. It was like Christmas, and I had been dieting through Thanksgiving and Christmas. Turned out I wound up dieting like 20 weeks for that show. And then I did the Suburban Championships the week after that, and then the Junior USA the week after that. So I was probably on a diet for 6 months. And by all means, I probably didn't need to be on a diet that long. And it does wear your body down, but I look good because I did it very slowly. So I think that there is some benefit to doing that.
Let's go to D-Rock P87. Dave, I hate this show more than watching someone try to breed an African rock python with a green anaconda. Question, how do bodybuilders compete overseas when all the drugs they take would not be allowed to go with them? Do they just have it ready in the other country waiting for them? Also, any chance the Olympia would ever move from Vegas? So 2 questions here.
I don't know how they bring the gear over. I think a lot of guys probably just have people there who they buy it from or have it ready for them when they get there. It's really not a big deal bringing stuff to Europe. It's bringing it back that's the problem. Except if you go into Australia, don't even bring vitamins to Australia. They will strip search everything you got. They'll go through your bag as thoroughly as I've ever seen anyone go through it. Everyone knows never bring anything to Australia.
Let's go to Kenshi Roji. Hate your show. I mean, I really do hate your show. Please, Dave, can you please bring Milo Sarcev and Oscar Ardon and maybe Hani Rambo together for another exciting iron debate about different training methods live be cool with them as well?
It's a possibility in the future. If Hani wanted to do it, I would bring him on. That sounds like a good roundtable, iron debate. Sure.
I was gonna say, going back to the previous question, did you answer the second part? Where, would any chance that the Olympia would ever move from Las Vegas?
It's moved before. It used to be all over the place. It would go back and forth, and people would bid on it. And I think it just found such a comfortable home in Vegas that they just like holding it there every year. It's convenient. You don't have to travel. It's easy to get hotels. It's not expensive there. I think it's a great destination place to hold the Olympia every year. And I think the bodybuilders fit in well there. The weather is always good there. I'm in favor of keeping it there. But if a Beta Badai wanted to put up, $1 million in prize money for, the Olympia in Kuwait, I wouldn't say it's a bad idea. That's for sure. I think it would be a great idea if someone would step up to the plate like that.
Let's go to Lucky Luck 1321. I hate this show so much. I'd rather read MD. All right. Dave, can you expand on site injecting with insulin needles?
I don't like to site inject with insulin needles. I'll tell you why. The insulin needles are too short, and because they're so short, when you're putting oil into a muscle group with insulin, with an insulin pin, it doesn't go deep enough. And especially if you're super shredded, you might be okay. But if you're not, more than likely it's going to percolate under the skin and you're going to get big welts, red welts. It's going to hurt. It's going to be sore. You're going to retain fluid. I don't think it's a good idea. If you were hitting like upper inner chest where there's no body fat there, then you can get away with it, I think, a half cc here or there. But I wouldn't be doing it on a regular basis.
Reminder again, we are going to be joined in roughly 10 minutes by our super secret mystery guest. So you're going to want to keep it locked in here on RXMuscle.com. Let's go to BP Grows. Super important question for you, Dave. So important, I don't want to waste characters hating this show, which I do, by the way. I just recently heard that taking fish oils for an extended period of time can actually cause oxidative stress, stating that fish oils are so unstable that they can even become rancid inside the body and actually cause more inflammation. Do you agree or disagree, and why?
I agree and I disagree. I agree because I think some brands are already rancid when people take them in, and I think that can make problems for the body internally with inflammation. But I think if you use a good pharmaceutical grade brand, we make Omega Lies obviously is a pharmaceutical grade brand, even though it's not made by a pharmaceutical company. It's tested for impurities. It's not old. It's not dated. Use a brand like that. It's not going bad inside your body. Believe me. And it's going to have way more benefits than negatives because our bodies can't make essential fatty acids. That's why we need to ingest them. So saying taking essential fatty acids is going to make you worse is ridiculous. The only qualification that, like I said, is if you're taking in a product or you're ingesting a product that is no longer good, or it's gone bad, so to speak.
Liam Pepin, simple question. Dave, how do you deal with stress?
Wayne Dyer had a great saying about stress. He's like, I've never seen a bucket of stress. And if you think about it, you can't put stress in a bucket. It doesn't exist. It's not real. It's made up. So when I get stressed out, I was very stressed Actually, I was stressed before. Before we did this show, I had an appointment here. We were talking about, someone advertising an RXMuscle. I had someone come in to buy a fish from my 600-gallon fish tank because I'm selling all the fish off because we're going to be moving down to Florida. I announced that last week. Or I announced it on the radio, I think. And so I had like 3 people trying to scoop out this enormous fish that was splashing all over the place. I'm doing a consult. I got phone calls coming in, and I got people asking me questions in my warehouse. So that's stress. You know what I did? I started laughing because I realized that there is no stress. It's just a circumstance. And you know what? Everyone will get over it, and things will get done, and that's it. Don't turn stress into more than what it is. It's a mental construct. Dismiss it. Say, look, I'm going to knock off one thing at a time. I'm going to take my time, and if I don't finish today, I'll finish tomorrow. There's no such thing as stress. We give stress legs, and it doesn't have legs because it's just made up.
Take a couple of more questions. Let's go to Stephen Bravo. Dave, is almond milk okay when dieting?
Is Cheerios okay with dieting? I'm sure you can lose weight on anything. Almond milk is not good for you. No. First of all, they use vegetable oils in there, which are horrendous for you. Okay? That's number one. Number two, it's not carb-free and not calorie-free, even the unsweetened ones. So it's not a substitute for milk. Okay? If you want to use it in the off-season because you like it, fine. But it's not really, they're not good for you. Okay? This is not like, you're not getting an essential fatty acid source from drinking almond milk. You're probably getting more vegetable oil than you are getting almond oil.
Boy from Paris, I hate the show almost as much as I hate Sid for never taking my question. So, of course, naturally, I have to take your question. First off, I want to try your version of the keto diet, but I'm afraid I'll lose muscle since when I follow your recommendations for macros, I'll be at a deficit of 800 calories. Do you think it's fine to increase fats or protein or both to increase calories up to a 500 calorie deficit? Let's go with that first. Yeah, he has a second question.
First of all, you got to make a 500 calorie deficit per day so that in 7 days you have 3,500 calorie deficit, which equals 1 gram of fat loss. That's bullshit, okay? That doesn't exist. That's a made-up construct. We're not machines. You can't dial up a certain amount of calorie deficit every day and then expect a certain amount of weight loss. It doesn't happen. Because you know what? You give me the same diet and you give Sid the same diet, I will burn calories way more than he will. And so that doesn't pan out, the 500 calories per day. Now, having said that, if you're following the macros, that I laid out, 1.5 grams of protein per pound, 3/4 of a gram of fat per pound, minimal carbs, and you're not losing weight, then something else has to be adjusted, obviously. But by and far, don't go by the whole, I got to put myself in a 500 calorie deficit per day if I want to expect a pound of fat loss in a week. Does not happen.
Take one more question. This one from Johnny Sock 0. I hate this show so much. I would rather be doing CrossFit. Dave, once gyno removal surgery is performed, are there chances of getting gyno ever again, or is the entire gland removed and gyno is removed permanently?
If the surgeon is good, the entire gland is removed. If you go to Dr. Blau in White Plains, New York, you won't get gyno back, okay? If you go to Joe Schmo, who just started doing it, has only done 10 procedures in his whole life, more than likely he's not going to take it all out or he's going to miss some of it, and guess what's going to happen? It's going to grow back.
That is going to do it for this episode of Ask Dave, brought to you by Species Nutrition. Reminder, in about 5 minutes, the super duper mystery guest will be revealed here on RXMuscle.com, so keep it tuned. For Johnny Styles, Dave Palumbo, we'll see you in 5 minutes.